It's Missing Reel with Mike DeRigo. Hey, welcome everybody. It's my latest episode, my 7th episode. Wow. So thanks for being here and joining me for this creepier than usual episode. This is going to be one on my absolute all-time favorite horror movie from 1982. And if this stupid music would just stop. What the hell is that stuff? Anyways, the movie we're talking about would be 1982's John Carpenter's The Thing, directed by John Carpenter. Spoiler alert! Oh wait, was I supposed to say that first? Oh my. Well, anyway, 1982. Yes, John Carpenter, a film director who's had a great history of horror movies and at one time was the all-time master of the genre, brought out this movie in 82. I saw it in a theater by myself. No parental guidance was required because by this time I had already gotten over my trauma of seeing Alien in 79. And I was kind of a big boy at this point. I was able to handle this shit, as a 12-year-old. And it was a great time to be at the movies. We had Conan the Barbarian. But a little history on The Thing. It was originally based upon a 1938 short story called Who Goes There by John W. Campbell. And then from that, in 1951, there was a black and white Howard Hawks movie, The Thing from Another World, which maybe you've seen. I know I did. And yeah, it wasn't that scary, man. I mean, what's so scary about a bald, tall carrot guy that James Arness from Gunsmoke? Yeah, that's not too terrifying, sorry. But Carpenter got it right, man. He brought the gore. He brought the goo. It was a creepy-ass claustrophobic movie. 1982 also saw another alien movie in the form of E.T., but The Thing ain't no E.T. I kind of wish that they had gone a different direction with E.T. actually, and like if E.T. was a thing and he would take over, like Drew Barrymore and Henry Thomas and all the kids would start attacking each other and assimilating each other with tentacles and stuff. That would be so good. But this Carpenter film it's his finest, scariest, most well put together horror movie. I mean, yes, Halloween was pretty scary, but I really wasn't so terrorized by a guy in a Captain Kirk mask walking after you with a knife in his hand. Nah, that's not scary. What would be scary is the actual William Shatner following you around and singing, "Mr. Tambourine Man!" Or like, "Rocket Man!" Any of that. That would be terrifying. And the fog was really scary too. We're getting close, but yeah, The Thing is truly, it takes the prize. It takes the top prize for being the scariest horror movie of all and probably best Carpenter movie in most people's opinion. One cool thing about, I keep saying that the word thing, so excuse me, is that the cast is entirely male. There's not a woman in sight anywhere. It's just a bunch of guys all stranded in this remote outpost in the snow. They're all living together. And this movie could very easily have turned into Brokeback Glacier. But yeah, nobody has got time for that, man. They got bigger problems. So the movie opens after you see the UFO land on Earth and the Thing words come out on the screen, and then it's like Antarctica, there's big mountains and snow, and you hear the dum-dum, that music, dum-dum. Yeah, there it goes again. I guess we have to address the music and talk about it just to shut it up. But yes, this music here, it was composed by the great Ennio Morricone, who composed The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and a whole bunch of spaghetti westerns and other great film scores, and he was never even recognized for it until he was about 88 years old when he won an Academy Award in 2015 for his Hateful Eight score. Now, also interesting about Quentin Tarantino's Hateful Eight, it also used a couple of music cues from The Thing, the 82 Thing. And the movie itself has a lot of influence from The Thing, not only the isolated location in the middle of a snowstorm at a haberdashery, and of course Kurt Russell being in there, but there's a lot of paranoia and who's who and who do you trust. But yeah, nobody's head crawls off on spider legs. Otherwise, it's pretty much the same film. Great movie. But yes, back to The Thing and the dum-dum. And in the snow, there's a helicopter chasing after a Siberian husky-looking kind of dog. I don't think it's really a husky, but it's a really nice dog, and it's being chased down by this crazy helicopter. Some guy's shooting at it, and it arrives at the camp where Kurt Russell and friends are doing their research in this Antarctic station. Whatever they're researching, I don't know, probably cataloging snowflakes or something, but this helicopter lands and disrupts their day, and the dog is being chased, and I don't know what this dog did wrong, man. I mean, did it like chew up your research papers, or you're just a cat person? But yeah, this Norwegian guy gets out of the chopper. He's like fuming and screaming and, delirious. And he's like screaming aha songs at the top of his lungs. And eventually they have to shoot him because he's a danger. And they just take the dog in because it's a nice dog. I really like this dog. I would love to get one just like it. Well, maybe not just like it, because when you see what happens to this dog, yeah, after that, I ain't even going to get a fucking chihuahua. So, the dog, it goes into their camp and hangs out with them a little while, keeps them company. And the dog is creepy, though. I mean, there's a scene when they return from this Norwegian camp where they find this block of ice and this disfigured, burnt, mutated lump of something in the snow. And they bring it back, and then this dog is just standing there staring at them, and it gives me the willies. So anyway, they went to the camp to see what the hell's up with these Norwegians, and they just found more dead Norwegians, and they get this sample back, and they open it up, and it's like a really bad, rancid, spoiled plate of ribs left over, and it's nasty, and they don't know what the hell's going on. So, let's talk about our cast a little bit, because I almost forgot. Kurt Russell stars in this movie, and starred in a bunch of Carpenter movies. In fact, those are pretty much the best Carpenter movies you could get, are the ones with Kurt. Starting off with the Elvis telemovie they did together, and Kurt Russell played the king. Now, Elvis was cool, but who's cooler than that? Snake Plissken. I've heard of you. Call me Snake. I just did. The name's Plissken. I called you that too, motherfucker. Yeah, of course, I'm talking about Escape from New York, which was a great Kurt Russell Carpenter movie. That's probably another one of his signature roles. So now we got him here in The Thing, and the cast is pretty cool. We also have Keith David, sometimes confused with David Keith, but I could help you here. David Keith is a white guy first, and he was in Firestarter, and he played Daredevil's dad in one of the Daredevil movies things. And we got Wilford Brimley, and you got this stoned character Palmer. He's always lighting up a giant spliff, so I suppose this might be like an immunity he has to the Thing, because how can you be assimilated by an alien organism if every cell of your body is stoned? Don't know. Maybe he'll make it through this as a human. We'll find out. Getting back to our storyline here is the dog's in the camp, and it's just walking around, and it goes into a room with some dude. You see the silhouette of the head turn, and then the screen fades to black. So something's going on. And they just get a little bit annoyed with this dog constantly interrupting their ping pong games and their Asteroids Deluxe and sessions. So they put it in the kennel with the rest of the dogs. And the other dogs don't take very well to this dog. Oh, and one more word about the dog. This Norwegian wolf dog there, it's actually a dog that's been in a lot of movies. His name is Jed. He was in lots of movies. He had a SAG card, or maybe at least a SAG collar. So, he got a lot of work back then. But now he's in the kennel, and he's not really a dog. So his head starts splitting open, and all his spaghetti starts spurting out of his body, and ant legs come out, and all the dogs going dog shit, and they're like barking and barking, and then this thing dog starts squirting milk at them, and the men hear all this commotion, and they go over there with flamethrowers, like, what the fuck's going on here? It's attacking the dogs, and it's like wrapping up its spaghetti so it can make like a pasta dog dish with them or something. So they start torching the damn thing, and it splits into two different things, and one thing has the hands, and it climbs out through the roof, and the bottom thing is just a big lump on the ground with eyes opening and like flowers blossoming. And I guess this thing, wherever it goes in the universe, it just picks up other things to imitate. So it probably maybe watched Little Shop of Horrors or something and said, I'm going to use these flower things to bite people with. And so the flower things come in and they flamethrow, they torch it, fumigate it, pesticide it, whatever. It's dead. It's toast. The poor dogs, some of them are alive, some of them are dead. They don't know what's going on. So they got Blair looking at it, like ripping open all the remains of this thing dog, and there's all this goo dripping everywhere. It's kind of disgusting, but, I love it. And this goo, all this like mucus and slime and crap that you see everywhere, this is actually the substance used to hold Twinkies together. So yeah, everyone eating your Twinkie right now? No more Hostess for you. Oh, and the gooey effects and the dog. Well, all these gooey monster effects and stuff were achieved by Rob Bottin, who's a genius in the field. Although one scene with the dogs, with the dog monster, was done by Stan Winston in studios, because Rob Bottin was probably a little overwhelmed with all the workload of blood, guts, and slime and shit spilling all over the place. But Stan Winston brought it. It was good. It was better than like his, endoskeletons from the Terminator movies and whatever. He did some alien work, I think. There's probably an end credits special thank you to Cyberdyne Systems. So that all worked out pretty good. And with the Rob Bottin stuff, Rob Bottin is a really like grizzly looking dude. He's got like a beard and long hair. He could have even played MacReady if Kurt Russell hadn't been available. So they're looking at all this gooey shit on the table, and the Blair is examining it, and the men are postulating different scientific theories. Well, Blair's is, what we're looking at here is an organism that imitates other life forms, and it imitates them perfectly. To the not-so-scientific, now how'd this motherfucker wake up after 1,000 years in the ice? But we figure out, that this thing is imitating people and whatever it comes into contact with. So Blair has this like computer simulation he's running, and it really is it's primitive graphics, and it looks almost like Atari 2600's Asteroids played in slow motion. But it's very chilling, and what it suggests, man, is that any cell the thing cell comes into contact with can be assimilated and duplicated, and the whole world will be a thing if this thing ever gets away. So Blair gets all paranoid, and eventually he goes bug shit crazy. He's got a gun, like, I'll kill you. He smashes the helicopter and the CBs, and there's like no contact. He disables their internet. I know there was no internet in 82, but that's it. He's all quacked now, and they have to like beat him down and like lock him in a shed. Poor Wilford Brimley, man. But it's right, because they leave him in there with like a lifetime supply of Quaker Oats, so he'll be all right. So the rest of the crew, they use Blair's notes and stuff to help figure out how they can protect themselves and identify who's a thing and stuff. And they get all paranoid. I think from now on everyone should prepare their own meals, and we should only eat out of cans. Yeah, and speaking of cans, what if you got to go take a shit and there's like a thing turd floating underneath the rim, man? It just like jumps up your ass crack and assimilates you rectally. That's terrifying, man. It's paranoid. You got to have your own toilet now, your own bathroom with a lock on it. Crazy. So there's a bunch of thing stuff going on. Everyone suspects each other. Some guy's stomach rips open and jaws of the thing bite off the doctor's hand, and the head with the spider shit. That's like the best scene in the whole movie. But you'll have to see it for yourself. I cannot describe it for you. So yeah, they're like everyone's paranoid and everyone's afraid to sleep. So of course I wondered, why does MacReady keep on drinking scotch? That's not a good way to stay awake, dude. Eventually they come up with this blood serum test, and they have to stick a hot needle in a petri dish of blood samples from each person who they think is still possibly suspiciously thingy, and they're all tied onto a couch. And then of course the one guy who is a thing is Palmer. So I guess all the pot didn't help, man. And you kind of think he's not a thing, because after he sees the whole spider head thing going by, and you gotta be fucking kidding. Oh, he can't be a thing, man. Only cool stoner human dudes say things like that. But wrong. And there's a lot of like misdirection and trickery and stuff. It's very, very, really well written script. But anyway, when Palmer's a thing and they have to flamethrow his ass too and incinerate him, Palmer gets really lit up in that scene finally. And that's the end of him, bye-bye thing. And they have to go over to Blair's shack and try to see what's up with Blair, give him the blood test. Well, Blair's not there. Blair escapes through a little crack in the floor, and they go into underground and they find a cave, and he's like putting together a little mini flying saucer of his own, using pieces that he stole from the helicopter and the bulldozer. Although I think all he'd be able to build with that stuff is like a flying bulldozer. But anyway, the things know what they're doing. They're very crafty engineers. So he'll make a flying saucer and he'll fly away and escape. But they go looking for Blair. They got to find Blair. And unfortunately, one guy finds Blair. It's Norris. Norris had a great scene just before when he was the last guy on the couch, and the blood tests are all over and everyone's scared shitless. He's like, I know you gentlemen have been through a lot, but if you find the time, I'd rather not spend the rest of the winter tied to this fucking couch. He's cool, right? But unfortunately, he meets up with Blair, and then Blair sticks his hand out and uses Norris's face as a glove and drags him over. Becomes an even bigger thing. So Kurt Russell has to face down the final thing all by himself. It's like this big thing jumps out of the ground. It's the Blair monster. And it's like the grand finale mutation thing. So it's got to have like every single bit of anything that was sitting around in Rob Bottin's workshop. So, you got Blair's head, you got half of a jaw head. It looks like Alien's deadly spawn. All you horror buffs might know what I'm talking about. Then there's like a dog head comes out and a werewolf comes out. RoboCop, fucking Quato from Total Recall. Everybody's in there. And Kurt Russell and the Thing have a very brief conversation. Yeah, fuck you too. Dynamite, kablooey, he's gone. And now all we got left is Kurt Russell, probably the last human alive, until he's joined by Keith David. But is it really Keith David? Or even David Keith? We don't know. They just sit there while the whole camp is burning down and they just blew the shit up and they're just going to freeze to death and die so that the Thing never escapes and reaches civilization. So the two of them just sit there and toast marshmallows, and that's the end of our movie. It's very ambiguous. We don't know really what was meant to be. So if you're really, really dying to find out what the hell happens to MacReady and Childs at the end of the Thing, well, the only luck you got really would be the 1991 to 93 Dark Horse graphic novels, where the story is continued, and it's pretty interesting. There's 2 different storylines that they did, and I had a few of those issues. The cover art's really cool, stories are good. I think you should check them out if you like the Thing. So after it showed in theaters, the Thing actually had a network television broadcast, and this version is an abomination. I hope you haven't seen it, because it essentially just hacks the movie to bits. It's almost like Michael Myers slashed it up with a knife, and he called in his buddies Jason and Freddy just to help make sure nothing remained intact. Every single shot, pretty much, of the Thing itself is missing from the movie. You see it in a split second here and there. Well, they might as well just, delete Rob Bottin's name from the credits. And because they needed to make it long enough to actually be a movie, they had to reinsert all this outtake footage that Carpenter didn't use, and some of it is so bad, you actually see the dead Norwegian on the table blink. There's narration at the beginning. It's Child, a fighter pilot from the military, the best there is. MacReady, a chess player. He likes flamethrowers and dogs. It's useless. Oh my God, what a waste, what a waste. Horrible way to introduce this classic movie to the masses who have TVs. What was there after that? There wasn't much, man. There were the McFarlane toys. They had some pretty cool little action figures, really meticulously crafted and detailed. I had the little Norris spider head. I love that thing. And there was those Dark Horse comics I told you about. And it wasn't until 2011 when another movie came around. It was a prequel to the Thing. And it really wasn't bad. I liked it. I mean, the only thing John Carpenter really had to say about it was, show me your teeth. Because there's a scene in there where they use that sort of thing to copy the whole blood serum test from his Thing. But, this wasn't bad at all. It had some pretty cool effects. Some of them were CG, but overall it still had that gooiness and the texture of the old Thing. It had a couple of good actors in it that we like. It had Mr. Echo from Lost. It had Tormund from Game of Thrones. So, Vikings versus Thing is pretty cool. And, of course, it had Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Mew for short, I guess. But, she's a cutie, man. She's, way easier on the eyes than Kurt Russell. She's kind of like a little Ripley Jr., fighting off the aliens, and Scott Pilgrim. And then she was in that one of those Cloverfield things. I mean, she's really just a lovely young woman. In fact, just thinking about her, I sometimes feel inspired to just burst into song. But yeah. Let's get back to business here. Talk about The Thing, or The Thing remake. Really good movie, yeah. And the coolest element of it, I was just about to say Thing again, is that towards the end, it really dovetails perfectly into the beginning of the Carpenter Thing. So it's excellent. It's seamless, and I really like it. So, if you're a really diehard Thing fan, see The Thing, because it's also called The Thing, so it's also going to confuse you. But it has the same lettering. It's The Thing from 2011, and if you don't see Kurt Russell with a beard, you're watching the right one. If you see a female at all, you're watching the right one, again, because there were women in this one. I don't think anyone actually fornicated in the movie at all. So it's not about sex, man. It's just about character development, man. But yeah, these are all good movies, and I'm really sorry that there aren't that many cool remakes anymore. Carpenter movies have not been remade well. The Fog remake pretty much sucked. And the Halloween, Rob Zombie's Halloween was pretty good because I think he's got his own style, and it was decent, and he had like a lot of throwback 80s actors in it. So that was decent. I just don't think they should go on trying to redo every damn movie that was great to begin with. And The Thing, despite the fact that it used all practical effects and there was no CGI and it's kind of dated, it's just experience of watching this movie is just very, very tense and paranoia that you could drown in. And yeah, the ingredients with the musical soundtrack, the Morricone music, there is good music in there. It's not just dump all the way through. It's very good. Great movie, my favorite horror movie, and I really do wish that Carpenter could make some more scary movies of this caliber. We had In the Mouth of Madness, which was really pretty good, and the last thing he really made that was really solid, scary, creepy, weird movie. Even like another collaboration with Kurt Russell would be amazing, because the last thing we got was that Big Trouble in Little China, and they're both still kind of working, so let's, do something else, Carpenter. I mean, start building, man, hammer something together and, make another great horror movie and close out your career, because the last thing Carpenter did was direct The Ward, I think, and that he didn't even write it, didn't do the music for it, and this is actually also one of the few John Carpenter movies where the music was not composed by John Carpenter, but it was pretty effective and synthy, and it had similar effect, creeping you out. And I don't know, that might be just about all I could say about The Thing right now. So any of you who haven't seen it, you must be things. You can't be human. But anyway, whatever the hell you are, thank you so much for listening to my Missing Reel podcast, and please come back again next time around. It's going to be another classic, good, awesome sci-fi movie that I can rip to shreds. So until next time, watch your back, 'cause who goes there? Bye.